Impromptu translates into English as something like at the ready or on command. Impromptu speeches are speeches that people make right away off the cuff without adequate time to script or to outline or to rehearse. They're that whole class of speeches where, boom, on your mark, get ready, go. So this week we're going to give you a chance to play around with giving an impromptu speech. And to do so, I've offered a speaker's notebook that's a little bit interesting. Some of you have heard about gratitude journals, simply taking a moment to count our blessings and notice things that we can be grateful for, and especially in tough times. Heavy work schedules, crazy COVID, amazing demands on our families and our energies, and isolation. It's especially challenging in the tough times to realize that, well, there still are things that we are grateful or can be grateful for. So gratitude journals are one of the ways that people have been using really for centuries and centuries and centuries to help focus us on stuff that's working, not just stuff that's not working. And there's lots of different ways to do some. Some people buy a special book. Some people just use note paper. Some people add some meditation or quiet time before they do it. Some people do it on the fly. So I have one friend who actually does his gratitude journal while he's driving. And every time he hits a stoplight, he takes a deep breath and tries to list 3 or 4 things that he can be grateful for that day. So for you guys, I want you to use your gratitude journal or the technique of writing a gratitude journal as a kind of a sneaky way of preparing without preparing for your impromptu speech, which is to say, I think you can see the assignment. Sit down. You can take a deep breath. You can center yourself if you'd like beforehand, but with a piece of paper and a pen and a 10-minute clock. First, you're going to list a minute or two of things, bullet points that you can be grateful for, and then you're going to drill in and drill down and try to get specific about one. And by the way, these can be really silly things. Like my coffee maker works this morning. And that makes me happy because coffee and I have a very intimate working relationship. Going outside and noticing a flower that makes you happy, colors that make you smile, kind comments, a really good show that you might have been able to watch, the ability to take a warm hot shower or to get out of a nice snuggly bed, as painful as that may be. There's all kinds of very, very simple things, sort of obvious things that you can count and list on your gratitude journal. And sometimes there's bigger things or more complicated things or things that are more unique to us. So I've given you an example in my speaker's notebook where I've listed a bunch and then I've zoomed in on one, and you'll have to go to that speaker's notebook assignment to see which one I zoomed on. And you can see my nonstop writing. I'm not paying attention to spelling or to punctuation or to sentence shape. I'm just trying to drill down and get specifics, because those are going to be what you will really want to focus on in this impromptu speech. Okay, so other than that, there's not a whole lot to prepare. I'm going to ask that you give an impromptu speech on a gratitude, a thing that you're grateful for, or thing that you can be grateful for this morning, today, or whenever you choose to do the assignment. If you'd like, you may do a couple, 2 or 3 of these gratitude journals before you get up to do your impromptu speech. That's a great way. It gets your head thinking about details. It gets your head practicing going into this sort of state of cognitive focus and awareness that you're going to need to give an effective speech. But I'm going to ask that you may not rehearse, you may not practice, and you may not script this speech. You have to get up, turn it on, and go. So it's kind of interesting. How do you prepare without you preparing? How do you prepare without practicing? How do you prepare without? How can you organize or focus your thoughts or get yourself at the ready for 2 to 3 minutes of persuasive, insightful, exciting, unique, engaging speech making without actually going through the careful work that some of you guys have done, practice speeches 3 and 4 and 5 times before you've done your final cut. So there's 2 other things I can simply say to help you prepare for impromptu speeches. And one may be obvious to some of you already, but one of them is to warm up. So you're going to shake your bones, wake up your bones a little bit. You're going to use those big all-around belly breaths. Fill up all your Buddha belly with as much air as you can. So that you can activate your breathing. Find your shoulder blades. Look at the floor. Look at the ceiling. Hunch up your, all this little seems silly, but this really does change the relationship of your muscles and your bones getting ready to speech. If you haven't stood up, you can use the vowel dance. Hi-ya-ya-ya-ya-ya-ya-ya-ya-ya. That's just a great way to warm up. I shake some sound out of my bones. Hi-ya-ya-ya-ya-ya-ya-ya-ya-ya-ya-ya. Hi-ya-ya-ya-ya-ya-ya-ya-ya-ya-ya. As if I could reach through the screen with my activated fingertips and actually smack you guys awake with some sound. Hi-ya-ya-ya-ya-ya-ya-ya. I can do a zoo-zoo-zoo-zoo-zoo, whoa, whoa, sh-sh-ah, ma, g-g-g-g-g, f-f-f-f, hey, kick, repeat, and back down and up and back and down, as loud, as fast, as quick, or as slowly as you want. Simply to help to wake up and ready all of these muscles and sounds for the speech. It makes an incredible difference. One of the things that you'll hear with me is if I'm warmed up, you hear a lot less lip smacking and a lot less umming when I'm warmed up than when I'm not, as if my muscles are better relaxed to be at service of the sound and the thought and not doing all of these distracting little tics that happen when we're not prepared, when we're not focused, when we're not on and at the ready for work. So one tip for your impromptu speech is to spend even the 2-3 minutes of warming up and waking up this beautiful instrument that is your body and your voice. So that's one good thing. And the other thing is to spend time on details and specifics. Sensory details will be much more engaging and much more communicative than simple listing. So again, for this speech, I want you to think of this rather than as a finished, polished video. I want you to think of this as a playground. This week is really a playground where you can sort of test yourself. What can you come up with in 2 minutes and 3 minutes? And I don't want you to, I don't want you guys to cheat. If you're gonna cheat, which is to say, I don't want you to record the speech, then do it again, and then do it again, and then do it again. I really want to see your first shot at talking about what you are grateful for this morning or that day. So if you feel like you have to cheat, or if you really feel like you crashed and burned with your first pass, you could do another 2 to 3 minute impromptu video recording, but do it about a different thing that you're grateful for. So if I start and I'm going on about these beautiful forsythia that you might be able to see outside my window, look at those pretty yellow flowers, and I'm talking about those beautiful flowers, but I just thought I was terrible. Okay, I can do another speech as another try, perhaps about this outrageous pillow that happens to be on the guest bed, because it's a thing that makes me happy. It's so colorful and bright and weird, but I want you to do, if you do a second go around, do a completely different thing, and then just send any of the videos that you want to up on your discussion board. So now, last thing I'll simply say about impromptu speaking as we're talking about it. It's also a chance to play around with some of the visuals. We've talked about visuals a little bit in this class. The visuals have to do with my costuming. Like, I'm wearing a white shirt today instead of a black shirt. You might notice the difference. You might like it more, might like it less. I didn't have any, my black shirts at the cleaners, so I put on a fresh white shirt. Does it add or diminish my credibility? I don't know. It's still a nice background for my hands. You can see my gestures working. You can see how gray my hair continues to grow. So I'm not so sure that there's a better or worse, but I want you to be mindful of your drag, mindful of your costuming. How is it working? Notice that it's not working so great against this white background. If I go back against the wardrobe, I actually have a nicer frame. This white now contrasts with the brown that's behind me, and you can see the shape a little bit better. So your costuming contributes. Your hair, your glasses, what do you have going on your head and your face that's going to do the most we can to give advantage to the expressiveness that we see in the facial gesture. The framing of your video makes a difference. We kind of like this. We like it head to waist if we can, because we want to see your hands. If you don't know what to do with them, put them here. They won't stay there. They'll be at the ready to gesture as is appropriate to you. Not bound, by the way, not held together. We don't want them locked up. We want those hands at the ready so that they'll go where they need to go when they need to go there. Your gestures can serve you when you're not thinking about them. No one wonders about what to do with their hands when they're on the street or in the hallway talking to their friends. Their hands do all the things that hands need to do to be expressive. So you can put them fingertip to fingertip. This is the least natural position, and they'll go where they need to go when they need to go there. So we like to be able to see the waist to the head frame if you have power to frame. That's also why we don't stand behind lecterns. We stand next to them when we're in a space so that we can get that head to hip or head to toe view, which audiences like. So costuming. Now, the other thing you have to be mindful of is your lighting. I have overhead lighting. I have an extra lighting bulb here. I know that I'm on camera, so I want to get as much light as I can and stay out of shadow. This is why we don't like hats, by the way. It's not that there's anything wrong with a hat, but if I can't see your eyes, I hate you. So we want to, if you have to wear a hat, wear it back so we have your face at the ready. If you're going to wear colors, that strong colors can be wonderful, but on video we want to avoid too much pattern, too much visual noise in patterning, floral ties, and so on and so forth. Jewelry can be beautiful for those of us who wear jewelry, but keep it minimal. If you're going to wear earrings, avoid long, dangly earrings that could catch the light and distract. If you're going to wear a tie, that's great, but let it be a calmer, quieter, stronger tie as opposed to something wild. Likewise with graphics, if the graphic could be appropriate, a Housatonic sweatshirt for a Housatonic pep rally could be add credibility and show sensitivity to who the audience is, but avoid graphics that are distracting, that are potentially offensive, that are overly political, that could drive a wedge between you and some members of the audience. Unless, of course, it's a political rally where you can be as political as is appropriate for your audience in your speech context. So we talk about costuming or drag, as I like to say. It's all the choices that you make that are going to add credibility for a specific speech in a specific relationship to an audience in a speech context. So think about that. Be mindful of what you're saying and who you're speaking to and how your visuals can support that. Lighting, hair, makeup, clothing. And then the last thing that we have available to us in video is this. I can walk right up to the camera and give a close-up shot to make emphasis or really get you guys to pay attention, and I can step back as well. So because we're developing sophistication with this video technology, you have some choices. You have ability to step up and step back, just as, and I think it's not so much something that's planned, but something that happens naturally when you want to make emphasis. You have that choice, and we can get really close up, and that has an effect on the viewers. You just want to come back into some neutral position for the remainder of your recording. So with that, I'm not going to give any more precise. There's lots and lots of variation of these impromptu speeches, but the topic is gratitude. The research tip is to use your gratitude journal as a way of prompting, as a way of priming your attention, your thinking, your thoughts about things to be grateful for. Warm up and specifics are what win the race. So I think it'll be great fun for the whole class to both practice talking about things that we feel blessed about, that we are grateful for, and also to see what others come up with from the treasure that is their lives, our lives, I should say. Okay, have fun with this. I can't wait to see them.